Welcome back to That's So Nourishing. In last week's episode, we really dove deep into what do you want? What do you want in the day-to-day, and understanding why it might be so hard to actually know what you want, really the baggage around wanting, because there's a lot of it, and actually gave you some practices to start to own what you want and figure out what it is that you want. And that was part one of this episode. So if you haven't watched that or listened to that, I encourage you to go back and take a listen now. And if not, you'll still be okay in this episode, but it does lay out some really great foundations for this part two. In this episode, we're going to go deeper into the big picture wants, like the big dreams that we have for our lives, or the big things that we want in our lives, whether that is a house or money, or to speak on big stages, to make a big impact, to create an app for the world, to be the best mom, whatever it might be. There's a million different things, but those bigger wants we're going to talk about, and we're going to go into why do you actually want them? What do you actually think that they're going to give for you? And getting really clear on why you want these things, making sure that they're your own wants instead of conditioned ones like we talked about in the last episode, and really getting clear on why you want them so that when you get these wants that you have, you're really able to let them land, to really relish in just how great it is to get what you want. Before really going into this episode, I want you to first think about what is it that you want? When you think about the big picture want for your life, or something that you're really desiring in this moment, it doesn't need to be long-term, something that you're desiring, what is it? See if you can just let yourself really think about that, really just feel it, and see what comes through. Maybe you know, and you're like so clear on the vision that you have for your life and what it is that you want. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you don't really give yourself time to think about it, and you just want to give yourself some time now. Pause this and come back and just see, like, what is my big want for my life? Or maybe it doesn't need to be this big want, this big vision that you have for yourself or your family. Maybe it's just like, what is the thing that I'm really wanting now? What is the thing that I'm desiring that I think is just going to make a big difference in my life or for my family? What is it? Or just what's that thing that I really want that I'm saving up money for, or that I desire, and I just think it'd be so cool to have. Whatever it might be, let yourself dream for a minute and just get clear on your wants and start to feel how that feels in your body when you think about them. And if any negative thought comes up or anything like that, just let it pass and just start to allow yourself to dream of it, to just feel into your wants and what it is that you are desiring. And once you got it, just hold on to that and hold on to that through this episode, because we're really going to start to break this down. First, I want you actually to think about all those things that you just said that you wanted. Why? What comes to mind when I ask you, why do you want it? And just see. And how do you think that it's going to make you feel? So just keep these questions, keep these answers in your back pocket as we go through this episode. One of the reasons that I really want you to get clear on why you want it, and I want to break that down in this episode, is because a lot of times when we want something in life, we maybe want it for the wrong reasons, or we don't realize why we want it, or we think that it's going to do something for us, that it's really going to change so much in our lives. And then when we get that thing that we thought was going to just make this huge difference in our lives, we realize, wait, it didn't actually change that much for me, or I don't feel the way I thought that this was going to make me feel. So I want you to hold on to that as we go through this episode, because really understanding why we want something and really what we want, why we want it, and how it makes us feel is such a powerful topic and thing to grasp, because so many people, and maybe you know some of them, or maybe this has happened to you, we get what we want. And when we end up getting that thing, we realize, wait, this isn't at all what I thought that it was going to be like. Or, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. And then we just go straight to the next thing. Or wait, this just feels totally normal. This like felt exciting and whatnot for a minute. And now it's just normal. And now I, again, want that next thing. Or now I'm seeking something else. Or we get all these external things and we realize, wait, there's still these issues. There's still these problems. Didn't solve everything that I thought. And a lot of times I think with wants that we have in our lives, we think that they're going to. We think that, oh, but once I have this, my life is going to be so much better, or it's going to be this happily ever after. I know I certainly did, and I blame this on the Disney movies. If you have ever seen a Disney movie, you know that they all end up in this happily ever after, that she gets the guy, the prince, and then they're just so happy and there's no issues. It's just rainbows and butterflies. And I know for me in my conditioning, I really thought that there was this happily ever after, that once you got what you wanted, that it actually made you happy. It made you feel really good. It made your life perfect and all the things. And I think a lot of us get conditioned this way. And if we're wanting something because we think that it's gonna make us feel this way, it can start to cause a little bit of a backlash when we get it, or we can realize that, oh, it wasn't actually what I thought here, or this didn't actually do what I thought it was gonna do for me. I know this firsthand. So this whole topic is really close for home for me, and I'm really passionate about talking about it because when I started my business back in 2017, I wanted to travel the world and work from anywhere and make a great income and be able to support my future family and be able to make a huge impact. And all of these things are so amazing. And I was able to do all of them within a year. And so I had everything that I wanted. Me and my now husband, we left to go travel the world. We were making great money. A lot of my business was running on autopilot. On paper, my life looked perfect. It looked so good. And I thought that once I got there, once I achieved all of these things, that my life would just be perfect, that all my problems would go away, that it would just be rainbows, unicorns, and butterflies, and everything would be good. What I didn't realize is that's not actually how it works. That when I hit that success, when I had all those things, that I was still me. I still had all the pieces of me that needed to be healed. I still had all of the things that I needed to work through. It just now I had nowhere else to run because I thought, oh, I'll be happy when, oh, I'll feel this way then, oh, I'll have this then, or my life will be this way then. And then I got it all. And it was like this huge mirror was put in my face. And I was like, whoa, wait. This is not it. It doesn't feel the way that I thought I would feel. This isn't the life that I thought that I was going to have. I have all this. Like, why can't I just enjoy it? Why can't I just feel the way I want to feel in it, or the way that I think I'm supposed to feel in it? Why is it like this? And I didn't really understand. And I beat myself up over it. I shamed myself over it. And what I realized too is like, I knew how to chase. I knew how to get the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, but I didn't actually know how to let any of it land. I knew how to want and to want and to want and think that these wants were going to solve these problems or to solve these things in my life. But once I actually had it all and there was nothing else to want, I didn't have anything else that I wanted at the time. I didn't know what to do. It was like, wait, but I thought this was going to do all of this for my life and it didn't. And I'm not saying it didn't give me an amazing life. It 100% did. And I now really had to look at everything because while, yes, there were certainly more goals that I could chase and I did chase, it was like, whoa, wait, I thought that all of this was going to make me feel this certain way and it didn't. I thought, again, I'd feel successful, happy, free, which if you look at someone's life who has all those things, you would think, yes, that makes so much sense. That is how their life is. But it wasn't that way for me. Like I felt pretty much anything but. So that's really what got me on this whole deep journey of really digging into my nervous system, and so much that I talk about in this podcast, and got me so interested in this whole topic of want and desire, because we could have these wants, we could have these desires, but if we don't actually know how to hold these desires, or we don't have the capacity in our nervous system to relate to them and it feels unsafe and not familiar, then we're not actually going to be able to let them land and actually going to be able to feel them. I'm going to probably do a whole deeper episode where I go really into that. But for the purpose of this episode, I really want us to look at where are these wants coming from? And, it's funny because back in the day, I didn't even know any of these wants were coming from where I'm about to share with you. And a lot of them weren't, right? The core want is very real. Wanting the travel, wanting the money, wanting all of these things are things that in today's world can make for a great life. And we should want, right? They would give someone a great life. And money is something we need in order to provide for our families and to create the life that we want, and gives us so many opportunities. So I'm not saying don't want them at all. It's just oftentimes when we actually look at why we want them, it can be so interesting to really break apart. And I'll get into this in a bit. And a lot of times the wants that we are desiring in our lives, we feel that they are going to fill this wound for us. Again, this is so unconscious. We don't even realize that this is at play a lot of the times. But think about the things that you said that you wanted. Maybe you wanted a big house. Maybe you wanted a lot more money. Maybe you wanted a bigger follower account or a certain type of business. Or maybe you wanted to be viewed as this type of mom, or you wanted a family that looks like this or feels like this or whatever it might be. Just think about that in your own life, or certain types of relationships with friends. whatever it is, think about any of your wants, or you wanted to buy something, any of your wants, just think about them and then really get clear on like, do I think any of this is going to give me more recognition, love, approval, validation, make me feel enough, give me connection, help me feel seen. Like all these things, a lot of times we want these things because we think that they're going to fill these wounds for us, that they're going to solve our quote unquote problems, that they're going to make things that we're dealing with now go away. So someone might want the big house because they think, well, once I have this big house, then all these women on my street, they're going to want to come over. They're going to look at me and they're going to see how much money I have and they're going to know. Or maybe we want certain relationships because we feel that if these people are friends with us and they're acting a certain way toward us, then we could be getting this love and this connection that we're desiring. Or if we have a big business and people are, working with us, then we're getting that validation and we're feeling like we're worthy and that we're enough because our clients are telling us this. Or if we're in a certain partnership that we really wanted, then we feel like, okay, well, this partnership is going to make me feel really seen. It's going to make me feel worthy and it's going to make me feel love and enough and approval and all these things. These are needs that a lot of us do not get met when we're younger. And they start to catapult throughout our lives and become these wounds that we have and these things that we constantly seek, our nervous system is constantly seeking to get met. And we think that these wants are going to meet them. But what we find out a lot of times when we get these wants, that actually maybe for a little, it will meet the need of feeling validated or feeling enough or feeling a connection or whatever it might be. But a lot of times what we can realize is that, if I don't actually feel this way myself, then these things aren't going to make me feel that way. They're actually going to feel a bit empty. Getting the big house, I think that's going to make me feel like enough. But you get the big house and you realize, wait, now I'm just comparing myself to people with bigger houses. And I still don't feel enough. I feel like I need to get more. I need to now decorate it really nicely. Or now I need to keep showing people it and inviting people over. And I still don't feel enough. Or we want a lot of money and all of a sudden we get a lot of money, but then we start to feel a lot of stress. We're like, wait, I thought that having money would solve my problem, that then all of a sudden people would realize that I'm worthy and they'd see me. But now I just feel like I have to constantly keep up with money. I feel like people are taking advantage of me and I still feel so unsafe. Like I thought this was going to make me feel safe and I still feel so unsafe around money. I thought I'd be able to provide for my family and now they're just taking all my money. How am I going to keep this? And there's all these other things that come up. We can think, I'll have this relationship and I'm going to feel so seen. But then you have the relationship. And even though the partner is seeing you, you can't actually let it in and feel it. So a lot of times we want these wants because they're filling this wound for us. And we think that this thing outside of ourselves is going to give us what it is we are seeking. However, when we get that want, we realize, wait, that's not actually the case. Maybe it does for a little bit. But then these patterns, because these are ingrained nervous system patterns, these are parts of us that are really aching to get met, that it doesn't actually fill the void. And we still need to fill that void in some other way. So we keep seeking and chasing and wanting more and trying to fill that void through all these external things. And it just never happens. Even if there's something that we really want to buy and we think, oh my God, this I'm going to fit in now because we want to keep up with the Joneses, or we see something on social media or just anywhere in society. We're like, this is what's going to make me feel this way. And then we get it. And it doesn't still. Or we get a car. We're like, oh my God, this car, this is going to again, we don't even always realize this is, like I said, so unconscious. Everyone's going to look at me in this car. They're going to know that I have money. They're going to know that I'm successful. They're going to know that I've got it. I'm going to feel so good in this car. And then maybe we do for like a week or 2 weeks. And then normalcy bias kicks in. And it just becomes normal in our lives. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this thing, this car, whatever. It's no big deal. Like I used to think it was really cool, but And then we're still seeing, okay, what's the thing that's going to make me feel successful? What's the thing that's going to make me feel enough? When we try to fill these voids outside of ourselves, it's like this cup that just keeps, like we keep trying to fill it, but there's this hole at the bottom and we just keep trying to fill it, but there's this hole at the bottom and it keeps going around and it keeps like spilling and spilling and spilling. And this is how I felt with a lot of the things that I wanted. I didn't consciously realize this, but I thought that having the big business, having people I was mentoring, having all this would make me feel like enough or make me feel worthy or validated. And I was seeking this validation from people or make me feel connected and loved and liked. But oftentimes I would be doing way more than enough and I still wouldn't feel like I was doing enough. Or I'd be getting the validation from all these people and all these people were saying how great I was and how amazing of a leader I was and all of these things that I did. I'd have this stack of testimonials and I couldn't even feel it. I couldn't even let them land and really like sink in what I was doing and how many lives I was changing. Or I'd be traveling the world in these amazing places and I couldn't even feel the joy of the life that I've created and what I got to do on my everyday. So if we're having these wants because we think that they're going to fulfill a certain void, well, it's not. It just doesn't work that way. We'll keep just experiencing the same scenario over and over again in different ways. A lot of times, another way to really define this is the pedestal effect. We put all of these wants on a pedestal and we think that once we have them, our life is going to be a certain way, that all of a sudden all our problems will be solved, or all of a sudden we'll be happy, or that things are going to be fixed or changed or healed, or insert whatever it is that you think that this want is going to give you. And we're putting our power outside ourselves that something else can make us feel a certain way. We're putting it on this pedestal. But what we don't realize until we have it a lot of the times that no, that actually is not how it works. We have to figure it out within ourselves. Nothing outside of ourselves is going to be able to make us feel a certain way, maybe for a little, but not lasting. We have to actually be able to access it in ourselves and really fill our own cup first, really meet our own needs and fill those voids in ourselves. And then from there, when we want something and when we get it, it's like this cherry on top. It's never going to give us what we're fully looking for. We have to find that within. And when we're putting these wants on a pedestals, we're only seeing the positives of them. We're shining this light. Like there's only good things that can happen. Like I need this because it's only going to do these amazing things for my life. Once I have this house, everyone's going to look at me this way. Once I have the follower account, I'll be able to make enough money and my business will be so good. Once I have money, all my problems will be solved. We think about all these good things, but we don't think about the fact that it's literally a universal law that everything has an equal amount of positives and negatives. There's pros and cons to every situation. So for example, let's say you get a lot of money and you're so stoked that you have all this money, but then your family starts treating you differently. Or then all these people start expecting things from you. Or then you don't know how to manage the money or you don't feel safe with the money. So you're still stressed. You're not actually feeling the way you thought the money was going to make you feel. Or you get the follower account. And so you think because you have this follower account that now your business is going to blow up, but now you just have to be seen in front of way more people. You have to deal with all your visibility wounds. You have people leaving negative comments, dealing with all this chaos because all these people found your account. Different things that we don't think about. Or you have this house. Now you have all this upkeep that you have to do. You have to furnish the house. You have to figure out the lawn, just all of these pieces. We have to deal with when things break down in the house. We don't think about the perceived negative side of things. We put it on a pedestal. But everything, again, has an equal amount of positives and negatives. So we need to take these wants off the pedestal and realize that they're not actually going to give us what it is that we think that we are going to get from them. So a piece of this too is acceptance for what we have now. For recognizing, wow, what we have right now is so great and being okay with where we're at now and meeting our own needs and meeting our parts and the pieces that crave that validation, that recognition, and to be seen and to feel enough and to feel worthy, meeting them. And then from there, building on our wants and not to fill this void, but again, to be this cherry on top so that when these wants come, we can actually feel them and we can actually let them land. You've probably seen like so many people in this world, right? They get the big cars, they get the big house, and it's like, why? Like just to kind of show that wealth because they're seeking that within themselves. There's nothing wrong with it. We all do this to some extent, and it can take a lot of work to unravel from this. But it's interesting to look at and to look at really why people are actually wanting what they're wanting. And again, we don't know a lot of times that this is conscious. We are so conditioned in society by social media, by keeping up with the Joneses, by what we see on TV, by our parents, and we don't even know. Like the example I gave in the last episode of the doctors and lawyers from a young age because the parents wanted them to be, or because their family always were doctors and lawyers, they think that's what I want. And they just become these doctors and lawyers. And for a lot of people, they then realize, wait, this actually wasn't my own want. This was my parents' want, and I wanted to get love from them, and I thought that it was my want, and I didn't realize I was just doing this to please them and to get their praise. This can take a lot of unraveling to even realize. But then they see and they're like, what? Whoa, like this wasn't actually my want. Why was I doing this? And there can be a lot of things in our life when we really look at, but why do I want that? Why was I actually doing this? That can be really illuminating, and it can open up a lot for us when we see that. So start to think about this in your own life in terms of the want that you shared earlier and anything else that you want. Why do I want this? And is this, going back to last episode, a conditioned want? Is this something that I want because of society, because of my family, because of my friends, because of thought that this would make me feel liked, because I thought that this would get me love? Or because of something I've seen on social media or TV or just conditioned throughout my life? Or is this a true want? Is this what I really want? Is this a want from my heart? All of our wants are our wants that are coming from this conditioning, or are these heart-led wants? And if we have these wants that are coming from conditioning or from the need to fill a void, then a lot of times when we get the want, it won't actually feel the way that we thought it would, or we'll have a lot come up that we then need to work through, or we'll just seek for that next thing. But when we can really get in touch with our heart, and I'll share a few ways that we can in this episode, and we can really make sure that it's coming from this heart want, that our why is so pure, that we really want to build from this place, from our actual heart, then we can be fueled in this whole different way towards what it is our want is. And we can actually really marinate in it when we get it. And it's just such a different way to really create wants. And you'll notice a lot of your wants will probably shift as you do this. When you get more in touch with really what is your actual true want, what does your heart really want? And when it's really pure, you're fueled by such a different energy to get what it is that you are desiring. I've touched on this a little bit, but I want to really spend some time on the fact that anything that we want is because we think that it is going to make us feel a certain way. This is key with anything. And oftentimes we don't think about what the actual feeling is. So even if you want something because you saw that your neighbor had it, well, why do you want it? You probably think that it's going to make you feel a certain way. It's going to make you feel cool. It's going to make you fit in, depending on what it is, right? It's going to make you feel like cleaning's easier. It's going to make you feel more like you're on top of your house and like you're more responsible if it's something that you get for your house, or a cleaning thing, like I was saying. Or if it's money, we think, oh, money is going to make me feel safe. And so I want money because I'm going to feel safe. I'm going to feel like I could provide if I have money. Or I want a big business because it's going to make me feel accomplished and successful and like I'm doing the thing. Or I'm going to make a big impact. And maybe unconsciously, we think it's going to make me feel seen and validated and enough and recognized and worthy. I want these friendships because I want to feel connection and love and seen and met. If you think about anything in your life that you've ever wanted, it's because you think that it is going to make you feel a certain way. When I wanted to travel the world and to work from anywhere and make a big income and support my future family, right, all of that, thought it was going to make me feel happy, successful, free. And so I wanted that. I wanted to feel that way. But a lot of times if we don't actually recognize how we think that the want is going to make us feel, then when we get the want, we can't feel it anyways. Or it doesn't actually make us feel that way. For me, when I thought I was going to feel happy, successful, and free, well, I got all these things and I actually didn't know how to feel happy, successful, or free. So even though all of those things potentially could have supported me in feeling that way, I couldn't actually feel that way. I didn't feel safe to me. If I actually wanted to let myself feel happy, I thought the other shoe was going to drop or something bad would happen. I didn't feel free because I was constantly bracing for the next thing. I was so stressed out all the time. And successful, I just felt like I knew how to get to the next thing. So I was like, no, I need to get to the next thing. I couldn't actually let it land. With money, a lot of times people think, oh, money is going to make me feel safe. So I want money. But then they get money. And like I was saying earlier, they don't actually feel safe. There's so many people with a ton of money who still don't feel safe with money, who still get so worried that they're going to lose it all, who just feel like it's so stressful. So it's not actually about the external things at all. Again, it's how do we feel within, and what is our nervous system's capacity to actually feel that, or have we done the nervous system work to actually be able to feel those feelings? So I want you to look at your want that you had earlier and see, well, why do I want it? How do I actually think, and I asked this in the beginning, how do I think it's going to make me feel? And that is one of the biggest hacks that you can utilize around wanting, because everything, like I was saying, that we want is because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. So how do you think that your want is going to make you feel? And if you just know that, that's already going to be helpful. However, a lot of times we put this want on a pedestal, we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. And in this fits the enoughness, the worthiness, connection, love, recognition, validation, everything that I shared earlier. But we can think that the want is going to make us feel a certain way. But when we get it, it doesn't, even if we know the feeling, unless we really need to do the work to actually be able to feel the feeling and know what that feels like in our own bodies and our own nervous systems. Because if this feeling is so foreign, we can get the thing that we thought was going to make us feel a certain way, and it still won't feel that way. And sometimes it could be a bit deeper. Like maybe you want more money because you want the freedom that you think it's going to bring you, but then you have that freedom, you get more money and you realize, wait, I don't actually feel free. So I actually wanted more money because I wanted safety. I thought that it was going to make me feel safe, but I'm still not feeling safe. So I need to do the work there. So when we get what we want, a lot of times it can show us maybe the areas where we still aren't actually giving it to ourselves. And then we can start to nurture ourselves. If you've operated in this way with want and you've wanted something and you've gotten it and realized it was maybe from the quote unquote wrong place, there's no wrong place, but you know what I mean, that there's no shame in that. I have done it 1,000 times. And what's really great is that ooh, okay, where do I still have these little voids? Where do I still get to like really come and give to myself? And where do I get to work? Or where do I get to give myself more of that feeling? And that's how we learn and that's how you grow. And then as you start to give yourself more of these feelings, as you start to meet yourself and these parts, then you really start to feel so much more full and then have these desires from a much more heart-led place and from this way where they just get to be like a waterfall pouring over you instead of something trying to fill that cup with a hole as well. So I want you to actually think about any of the wants in your life. What do you think that they're going to make you feel? No judgment, but what do you think they're going to make you feel? And then from there, actually allow yourself to feel that way now. See if you can start to feel that way in your own life. For me, I believe I've shared this on the podcast before, but when I wanted to feel joy, I physically couldn't feel joy. I would actually try to feel it, and then some negative thought would come in, and then I'd try, and some negative thought would come in. But I actually really had to build that capacity. So I want you to think about how do you want to feel? What do you think? Like literally write down all your wants, think how you think that they're going to make you feel. And then from there, start to see if you can actually start to feel that way now. Because that way, if you can start to feel the way that you think the want is going to make you feel now, then when you get that want, you're actually going to be able to feel it because you've already built the capacity to feel that way. And a little paradox here, a little trick here, actually, when you're already feeling that way, it brings that want to you faster. Because you're already feeling the way you want it to feel. You don't need something else outside of you to make you feel that way. Nothing outside of us is going to make us feel that way. So we have to do the inner work to actually feel it. And then everything else is an amplifier. Everything that we want, money, success, anything in life is just an amplifier of who we are. So we got to feel that way first. And then when we have the money or when we have the success or when we have the house or whatever it is, that will just amplify how we're feeling. And it'll just be a bonus. But we got to feel it within. So notice how you want to feel, what you think all these things are going to want to make you feel. I promise you, every single want you have will make you want to feel a certain way. Some might take a little longer for you to actually figure out what that feeling is. But then again, see how you can feel it now. And as you start to build the capacity for this feeling and you start to actually live it in your own life, what's cool too is not only do you sometimes get what you want faster, sometimes then you don't even feel like you need what it is that you wanted because you were only needing it because you thought that it was going to make you feel a certain way. But now you've realized you actually hold the power. You got the little magic wand and you can feel it without that thing. So the want for that can kind of go away too. And then you can want things from your heart, not needing to fill that void or not needing to make you feel certain because you realize you have that within. So that's where wanting then gets really fun because from your heart, you get to create your wants and it just all gets to be bonuses instead of thinking it's going to do something for you that it isn't because you've already done that for yourself. If you haven't taken anything else from this episode, like that is one of the biggest things. Anything that we want it because we think that it's going to make us feel a certain way. So get clear on how you think that it's going to make you feel and so you can start to feel that way now, right? Start to get familiar with it. If you want to dig deeper and really understand like your nervous system's capacity to feel that way and break down why you maybe struggle to feel that way and why you even think that it has to be something outside of you, then join my email list where I host weekly webinars where we really break down this and we really dive deep into the different patterns within our nervous system and how through those patterns we then show up in specific ways within our lives and we maybe struggle to feel certain ways that consciously we're desiring to feel as well. And we start to unravel those patterns and start to repattern and start to rewire our brains and our nervous system to really support us in the life that we want to create. So definitely recommend signing up for my email list. The link is in the show notes and come into those free live weekly webinars. One other really cool thing that actually focusing on the feeling and giving that to yourself first can support is it can lower your want for what you're actually desiring. And a lot of people don't talk about this in the manifestation world, but when we are so focused on our wants, when we are gripping onto that want, like how badly we want it, and we're putting it on that big pedestal, it actually lessens our chance of having it because we're making it even a bigger distance from where we are. So when we can take it off the pedestal, when we can just see the positives and the negatives of it, when we can not grip on to it or feel like it's going to change our life in so many ways because we're either whole because we've given ourselves that feeling, or because we see that, yeah, it's going to be great, but it's also going to have its negatives around it and it's not going to be everything that we want. Then we can, one, stop putting the power so much outside of ourselves, like we think it's going to change everything. And two, it actually, when we're not gripping so much on it, it frees us so much because one, we're not really logical when we're like gripping, we want it's bad. We're almost like willing to do anything for it, which isn't always the best thing for it. And two, when we don't need it so bad, when we don't really want it and we're more neutral around it, it actually literally makes it come in faster. That gripping energy, think about when you like really want a guy and you're like trying to date them and you're doing everything and it's so obvious that you like them and like you're just keep calling them and chasing them. Like they're kind of like, whoa, hold up a little, back off, you know? And that's the same with our desires. When we want these things, it's kind of like, whoa, chill out a little bit here. And it moves and they want to move further away. So see how you can take that gripping off of your wants as well. And that will really serve you in your manifestations. Just wanted to add that as a little fun addition here. With all of this, I just want to share, I'm not telling you not to have wants. I want you to have wants. I want you to dream big and really get everything that you want in life. I just really wanted to go into getting really clear on why you want it so that when you do get everything that you want, you can actually let it land and it can feel the way that you thought it would. And you can really enjoy it and be like, yes, this is such an epic want. My life is so amazing. So really see how you can dream big and like allow yourself to go there and really focus on your wants. I know for me, for so long after I got what I wanted and it didn't feel the way I thought it would at all, and I really had to do a lot of deep work, I almost felt like I couldn't desire anything because I was like, well, I know that it's not going to bring me the feeling that I want, or, you know, it's not going to bring me the whatever I thought it would. So I don't even want anything anymore. Like, I don't need the money. I don't need the certain lifestyle. I don't need it. And that's not exactly the way to go about it, I would say. Like, yes, that can be supportive in some ways of detaching from it and of just allowing yourself to like be open to the present and what's there. But it was this weird relationship with want and desire that I had where I just like wouldn't really let myself do it. While that served a purpose, I learned a lot in that time. It also, like, I want to share with you that there is such a benefit in, again, knowing what you want, but not being so grippy and attaching to it, like being detached from it and allowing yourself to really dream big. And when you have actually understood what it is that you want and realized how that's going to make you feel and actually given yourself those feelings and gotten clear on your why, like it's this heart-led want, like you know that you want it for the right reasons, then wow, like what you can create in your life is so unreal, and how you get to do that gets to be this beautiful process. So it's just about not trying to want something because you need it to fill this void outside of you. But once you can fill those, and once you can really get to a place where you know that it's this heart-led want, whoa. Dream so big, because the impact that you get to create on this world and this life that you get to create for yourself is so amazing. Because I mentioned this a bit in the last episode, but if we don't have that direction for where we want to go, then oftentimes that's just going to hold us back from actually creating it. So having that intention can be so powerful. We, again, don't need to be attached to it. We can be very detached to it, but allowing ourselves to dream big, to want big things for our life is so beautiful, because if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure that you have this big desire on your heart and you're meant to do great things in this world. So I want you to access that. And when we get to access it from this place of wholeness and this heart-led one of what we truly desire, oh my gosh, it gets to be so special what we can create. I know for myself, right, I constantly catch myself of, okay, why do I want this one? What is the feeling I'm trying to get here? Okay, let's give myself those feelings now. And then when I start operating from those feelings, I realize I don't actually need anything outside of me to make me feel that way. And it almost like demystifies the want too. It's like, okay, I really wanted this because I wanted it to make me feel this way, but now I see I can make me feel that way. So I got this, and that's just a bonus that I get to have. And so when we can dream bigger in this way, it can almost make these wants like so much more easeful to get. Because again, we're doing it from like, I got me, and this is just that cherry on top. So by all means, still want the money, want the travel, want the big house, want the car, all these things. We can still want awesome shit for our lives. When we come at it from a space of wholeness, or our cup is full and then we want it to pour over, versus I want this to make me feel enough or validated or seen or approved or loved, it's a whole different ballgame. And it's this whole different energy when we know that we can give it ourselves. And this is the key when it comes to just really accessing our desires in life and really like getting it from the right place, the why that we want it. So notice, okay, why do I want these things in my life? How do I think they're going to make me feel? And then how can I give that to myself? And this will shift everything. Get really clear too on why you want it. Allow yourself to have those real conversations with yourself, to sit down with a journal and to see, like, actually put your blinders on. We are so inundated by all these different things, like we were talking about earlier, social media, our parents, our families, the Joneses, our friends, just all these things in society. See if you can actually put your blinders on and really sit with yourself and journal. Like, what do I actually want outside of my family want, outside of what society says, outside of what someone else has? Like, what do I actually want? And get clear that these are like your true wants, your heart-led wants, not conditioned wants or things that you want to fill this void. And see, like, be honest with yourself here and so kind with yourself in this process. Like, ooh, where do I think this is going to make me feel enough? Or where do I think this is going to make me feel a certain way? And how can I actually do the work to make myself feel this way now? And so, like, look at all your wants and get really honest. And be like, again, is this a true want? Is this a conditioned want? Like, why do I want this? And get honest with yourself. Like, let's think, does this relate to maybe getting approval from my parents? Or does this relate to maybe my friend had this growing up and this made everyone like her? So I think that something like that is going to make people like me. Sit down and really put your blinders on and give yourself the time to really get clear on what it is that your core wants are and your heart-led wants, and unravel the ones from just all the conditionings and all the stimuli that we take in, to get really clear on like what's your want and why you want it. And as you keep unraveling that, it's going to really support you in being able to access so much and open up so much for you. You might find wants that you had, you really actually don't need, or like you don't actually want them anymore now that you understand where they're coming from. They're not actually like true to you. And you might also start to find new wants. As you start getting rid of certain wants, it might start to create the space for new wants that you have, and that stem from like your core self, from who you really are. So allow yourself to really take the time to journal on this and to really sit with yourself with blinders on. I'll give you a few questions now too that you can start to just like unravel things, to break it down and really see like, what are my actual heart-led wants? And why do I want the things that I currently want? And are these like the actual heart-led wants, or do I want them to fill a certain feeling or void? And how can I give that to myself now? And what is that shift? Really give yourself this time. It's going to be so powerful to see. And any time that you catch yourself wanting something, just see if you can pause and be like, okay, wait. Blinders on. Do I actually want this? Or is this just because so-and-so has it? Or because I just saw it over here? Or because that was conditioned? So get really clear with your blinders on. So many times, like we can see even with success, it's like I talk to so many people who we want success for a certain reason, and we want it because we want to support our families and we want to create a certain lifestyle, and then we get there, but then the blinders come off and it's like, wait, but this person's doing this and this person's further along and this person, and all of a sudden that success that we created that felt so good, it's like, wait, it's not enough. Or we now want all these other things that we never even wanted before. So get your blinders on and get really, really clear. And I want to give you a few questions that you can ask as well to help you really dive deep into this. So ask yourself, if I wasn't trying to please anyone, what would I want? Or would I still want this? If money wasn't involved, what do I actually want? If I didn't need to make money, what would I want? Why do I want this? What do I think that this is going to give me? Am I placing too much power outside of myself? And can I give this to myself? Can I bring it back to myself? And give myself what I need in this instance? If I knew I was already enough, would I still want this? If I wasn't seeking validation or approval or trying to get love, would I still want this? What would wanting this look like if I didn't need to prove anything? What feeling am I hoping that this will give me? And how can I start feeling that feeling now? Would I still want this if no one ever knew that I had it? Now, obviously, this only applies to certain things that someone wouldn't have to see you in, but would you still want it? So utilize these questions to really start to see what they bring up for you. Because as you start to analyze, why do I actually want this? If money wasn't involved, if I wasn't trying to prove anything, like what would I actually want? Can start to open up a lot of doors for you and a lot of possibilities. And these questions can start to break down your wants, and you can really start to find the why in your wanting and what that is that you're really desiring. Also, you might think that you want something for one reason, but then when you really dig deep, you realize you wanted it for a completely different reason. Or you'll realize that that was just kind of the surface level reason of why you wanted it. And you'll see as you keep digging, like, okay, but why do I want it? And why do I want it? And why? And like, keep asking yourself why. Almost do like a 7-layer of why. Okay, but why do I want it? Because of this. Okay, but why do I want this? And why do I want this? You'll actually get to the real root of why you want it, which you might not know initially. So for example, with certain things, you might think you want it for one reason. Let's say it's a house. You might think that you want it so that your family can live there. And that might be part of it, so that you can provide them shelter. That's obviously a big key one. But maybe there's some other reasons. You can ask like, okay, why do I want this? And why do I want this? Okay, well, I want this because I want to be able to shelter my family. Okay, well, but why do you need a big house to do this? Because I want them to have enough space. Okay, but why do you need them to have enough space? Why couldn't they have enough space in a bit of a smaller house? And you just actually start to see, and then maybe you realize, oh, because I wanted to look a certain way. You realize that, oh, because maybe I wasn't able to have a big house when I was growing up, and so I always wanted this because that was what's going to allow me to feel successful. So you can see these wants go pretty deep, and we might not even realize, or we could also think it's something different where we could think, oh, I want to have a lot of money because that's going to give me the freedom to make choice and do what I want. So maybe I want it because I want the freedom. Okay, well, why? Because I want to be able to do what I want when I want. Okay, well, why? Because I want to be able to have spaciousness in my day. Okay, well, why? Because that allows me to feel like I'm successful. Because why, right? Start to see, and you can, again, break this down. You can see both those examples led to success, but there's so many other things that it can lead to. And you might even see with certain examples, again, that your why is like way different than what you thought it was. And that your initial why, the feeling that you want to feel, there's actually some feelings underneath it that you're more so desiring to feel instead. There's just some layered on top of it. And you'll just start to see like the real reason for your wants. So this is going to be a really powerful practice for you to try. And just, again, really get down to why you want it. Because once you actually know the core reason why, then you get to decide, okay, so from this place, knowing it's for this one, do I really want to pursue this want? Like, do I still want it? And okay, now how can I give myself this now? For example, with the house, right? If you get the house and it's not what you thought, or yes, you have your kids, but why is this still unsettling? Or why does this now feel like it's maybe filling one of those voids? Well, you would know in advance if you do this practice. Or with the money, oh, well, now I have all this money, but why don't I still feel free? Like, what is it? Well, you would know with this practice. So this will really help you go a bit deeper to really start to look at those deeper layers as well. For example, you might think that you want more money because you think that that is going to just change everything in your life. But when you really break it down, you realize, wait, I actually just want more spaciousness. I actually want to be able to do whatever I want on a Tuesday. And I think money is going to give me that. Or I want to be able to check my bank account and not freak out. And I think money is going to give me that. But the thing is that money isn't actually going to give you that unless you actually give it to yourself. And what I mean by that is you think money is going to give you the spaciousness to have Tuesdays off. But if you are someone who always works and that's where your baseline is you always need to keep busy and work, well, the money isn't going to give you spaciousness. You're just going to have money and still now be really busy. Or you think having a lot of money is going to make you be able to check your bank account and feel like you can relax. But if your nervous system doesn't feel like it's safe to have a lot of money or to relate to money in that way, then you could still check your bank account and it's not going to allow you to relax. So it's not actually the money. It's, again, the way you think the money is going to make you feel. But when you break it down, you might actually realize, oh, it's actually something else that I want. I just thought money was going to give me this, but it's actually these other things. So maybe instead of the money, maybe what you actually wanted is spaciousness. You thought money was going to give that to you, but oh, I actually want spaciousness. How can I give myself the space on a Tuesday to actually be able to decide what I want to do? Or how can I give myself a Tuesday off? What can I rework in my schedule? Or how can I feel that spaciousness now? So then the money is just a bonus. Or so that I can actually feel the spaciousness when I have the money. Because again, if you don't give yourself the spaciousness now, you say when you have money, you're going to be able to feel spaciousness. But most likely you probably will not be able to. I know this from my own personal experience and from working with others as well. So really get clear and really allow yourself to break down what these wants are and why you want them and how you want to feel. And oftentimes, no, it's not always that first thing that comes up, that surface feeling and that surface why. Start to really break it down so you can see and then see, okay, how can I give this to myself now? And start to really see what that brings up for you. And this is also how you could get something like how I thought my business and traveling and all this was going to make me feel happy, but then I got it and I couldn't actually feel that way because I didn't work that muscle. So you really want to make sure to be working the muscle beforehand. Or if it is a true want coming from your heart or a conditioned want. And getting clear on that is going to help you start to detach from these wants as well. I hope from this episode, you really got clear on what it is that you want. And then now you have an understanding of actually how to break that down and why you want it and how you think it's going to make you feel so that you can start to feel like, what are my actual true wants? What are my heart wants? These are all so conditioned with no shame or judgment. This is all so normal to go through based on how our society is, how our nervous systems are, what we seek for love. It's all so natural. So just start to notice and hopefully you'll have a lot of light bulbs come off of really what it is that you actually want. Maybe underneath that surface level want, maybe there's some deeper wants and what you actually think that it's going to give you. When we can break this process down and really see why we want something and how we think it's going to make us feel and actually start to then give it to ourselves, this can truly shift how we show up in life in so many ways. And it ultimately really reprograms us seeking things outside of ourselves, thinking that these wants are going to make us feel a certain way or they're going to give us something that we don't have. And it really brings the power back to ourselves, and it really brings the agency back to ourselves, which is what I want for you, is to really have that agency to decide what it is that you want and actually go after and know that you already have it all within you and that you can cultivate those feelings that you're desiring. You don't need anything outside of you to make you feel enough, worthy, to validated, approved, like any of it. You get to decide that for yourself within. And when you can start giving that to yourself, and really seeing that, wow, this is what's getting me what I want, none of this other stuff. Oh my gosh, it can change your life in so many ways. And also, then when we think about our big desires, our big ones, what it is we want, all the things, we get to move to it in such a heart-led place, and we get to actually receive all those desires and really let them land in our system, because they're not filling this void. They're not going through the hole in the cup. They're just really landing within us, and we fully get to embrace what they are. So have your wants, dream big, really think about all that you want, allow yourself to go there and get clear on why you want it and how you think it's going to make you feel, and give that to yourself now. So again, asking yourself, what am I hoping that this will give me, and how can I give this to myself now? Hope that you got a ton from this episode. There was such gold shared in here, so that you can really just drop in, get clear, get into your heart. What do I actually want? Take some time to journal. Why do I want it? How do I think it's going to make me feel? Give that to yourself now. Reach out to me. Send me a DM. I would love to hear how this shifted your relationship with your wants, how this shifted how you feel each day, and what you're maybe not striving towards, and what you're giving to yourself, and the feelings that you're prioritizing. And of course, reach out if you want to go any deeper. I would love to support you in this. You could reach on my Instagram. The link is in the show notes. And let's get nourished. If this episode resonated with you, I would absolutely love if you could like, share, and subscribe to this podcast, and leave a 5-star review as well. It is my mission to support as many women as possible in truly coming back to themselves, rooting into who they truly are, and ultimately become nourished in all areas of their lives. I would absolutely love for you to join me on that mission and help spread this podcast to anyone who you feel that it would be supportive for. Also, it would mean the world to me if you could reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is in the show notes, and let me know how this resonated with you, what you are loving in the podcast, and what you would like to see more of as well, so we can deepen the relationship over there. If you'd like to take these principles deeper and really embody them on a next level in your own life, I invite you to join my email list. The link is in the show notes. I will be emailing you each week. I host live webinars digging even deeper into these concepts and how you can practically apply them into your own life, so that you can fully become lit up by life, nourished in all areas, and really embody all of the principles that I share here on this podcast. So again, the link is in the show notes to join. I would absolutely love to have you on there. I provide a ton of value on my list, different practices you can do each week, the webinars that you can tune into, and a lot of other fun goodies as well. And you'll be the first to know about podcast episodes too. So again, hop on over to my email list so that I can fully support you even further, and let's get nourished.